I've studied over 1,000 options traders and discovered that 95% of them fall into the same 5 traps which prevent them from consistently making money. And it was only after I started avoiding these traps that I was able to make anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a month with my options portfolio. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what those mistakes are. Plus I'm going to give you a checklist that you can use to avoid losing money trading options. Now, I didn't just wake up one day and magically know all of this. And in fact, after selling over 67,000 books on options trading and personally speaking to 1,000 traders over the past 5 years, I've seen every mistake in the book. And trust me on this, these traps are like bad dad jokes. They keep coming back unless you know how to avoid them. So let's jump in to the first trap that you need to watch out for. Because this mistake is like ignoring a storm warning before setting sail. It's all about the VIX. Now the VIX is the volatility indicator for the entire S&P 500. It's kind of like the market's weather forecast. And just like you would check for rain before planning a picnic, smart traders always check the volatility level before entering any trade. But a lot of newer traders completely ignore it. In April of this year, when the Liberation Day tariffs took place, the VIX spiked. It went all the way from 15 all the way up to 50. And the next 2 weeks in the market was a huge sell-off. So anyone who was selling options in that 14-day period got destroyed. And so how do you avoid this? Well, it's very simple. Before every trade, you check the VIX. And if the VIX is above 30, then you really shouldn't be selling any options. But even when volatility isn't high, there's another mistake that can wreck your account fast. And it's when you over leverage or you risk too much of your account in a single trade, because then even a tiny move can wipe you out faster than you can say margin call. Now think of it like this, and we've all done this. Imagine you've got a bit too confident at the grocery store and you've stuffed your bag too much. And now you're carrying it back to your car and it's one wrong step and suddenly you're chasing apples in the parking lot. The eggs have cracked. People are laughing at you, even if you can't see them. And it's you cleaning up a mess that could have easily been avoided. And this happened to one of my coaching students when he joined our program. The first call I had with him, he came to me with a problem. He said, look, I've risked almost all of my account on a single trade. What on earth do I do? And unfortunately, I don't have a time machine, so I can't go back and stop him from doing that. But I can prevent you from doing the same thing. If you do risk your whole account on one trade, if the stock moves against you, now you're stuck holding a stock well below what it is you paid for it. And so the way you avoid this is very simple. You only risk 1 to 5% of your account in any one trade. And the larger your account, the smaller that percentage should be. And if you're trading a significant sum, then really you should only be risking 1 to 1.5% in any given trade. And as unsexy as that sounds, you should be using things like position sizing calculators and stop losses in every trade you do. But even if you get the right position sizing, there's actually another mistake when you're actually in the trade itself. And this one has become more and more popular over the past few years with the way the options market has matured. And it's all to do with one of the sneakiest traps in options trading, and that is time decay, also known as theta. Now, time decay is the silent force that eats away at your options value every minute that you hold it. And time decay happens whether you're staring at your brokerage account or sleeping in the middle of the night. And the problem that's happening more and more lately is a lot of traders get lured in by these weekly expiration dates because it feels like easy money, feels like quick money as well. But these weekly expirations, when there's only 4 days or less to go in the trade, this is when time decay is at its fastest. So if the stock moves against you, you have no time to recover at all because so much of the time value of your option has just melted away. So the easiest way to prevent this, especially when you're starting out, is only trade options with monthly expiration dates, because time decay isn't going to work against you as fast. Or if the stock does go against you, you have time to recover. You've seen me talk about trades going against you a few times in this video, which leads me on to the next mistake. And it all has to do with exits. Because without clear exit rules, you're either going to hold on to trades too long or you're going to get out of them too soon. And both of these can ruin your returns. Because it's like going on a road trip with no GPS. You hit traffic, you start to panic, you start taking random detours because you think you can outsmart the GPS, think it's going to save you some time, but what happens? You take these detours, it costs you time, you're late to where you're going, and it costs you your sanity. Here's how this used to affect me in my own trading journey. I would enter a trade and I would be up on that trade, maybe 70% of the max profit. But instead of actually just locking in my profits and coming out of the trade in a good position, I would be greedy and I would wait to get that remaining 30%. Then before you know it, the stock would turn against me and that 70% profit that I had would now turn into a loss before my very eyes. And so the way you avoid this is very simple. For monthly options, if you capture 50% of the max profit within the first 7 days of the trade, you just lock in your profits, close the trade. No ifs, ands, or buts. Then I also have similar time-based rules for things like stop losses and also rolling trades, depending on the profit level and depending on how much time is left. Now, keeping track of all this manually can be a little bit annoying, which is why I built my software that does it automatically for me. And you can actually get access to that for free just by going to the link down below. And if you've been paying attention to this video, you can probably tell by now that losses and losing trades are part of this game, which leads me onto the final big mistake that new options traders make. Because here is the truth of it all. Losing a trade doesn't mean that you failed. It's simply the cost of doing business as a trader. If you can't internalize that, you risk letting a single bad trade spiral into something a lot worse. And the best way to think about this is think about your trading like running a business. Let's say you run a restaurant. No matter how good your food is, you're always going to have some wastage. There's going to be dishes that get sent back.
That is fucking disgusting.
There's going to be ingredients that arrive spoiled, and there's just going to be slow nights when the tables stay empty. But you wouldn't close your restaurant because of a few bad nights. Instead, you would factor in those costs to your overall profit and loss, and you would keep going so long as you are steadily profitable. And unfortunately, I've seen this firsthand. Because a good friend of mine was pretty disciplined for the first 10 years of his trading journey. He built his account up slowly and steadily. But after a string of losses, he got frustrated. He started revenge trading and he blew up his entire account in just a couple of months. And if you're not careful and you can't accept those small inevitable losses as part of your trading journey, the same thing could happen to you. Now, the good news is this is a very easy mistake to fix. You simply embrace accepting your losses. You treat losses as a normal cost of doing business. They're just a line item on your profit and loss sheet. They're not a personal failure. And this is why it helps logging every trade, because you can see your profitability over time and you can see that just because you've had a couple of losing trades in a row doesn't mean that you're a bad trader. You can do it manually, or you can just use my software to do it. Makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot quicker. So there you have it. The 5 biggest mistakes that keep most traders stuck, frustrated, or worse, blow up their account. Now the good news is every single one of these is fixable. So you can use that checklist. Remember, check the VIX before you trade. Never risk more than 5% of your account at once. If you're just starting out, respect time decay, only trade monthly options. Always have a clear exit plan for every single trade and treat losses like the normal business expenses they are. And if you trade covered calls, I've got another video down below showing you how to fix the most common mistake with those as well.